Hi, ThatPaulGuy, and today we're going to take a look at this. This is an Acer EI272UR. Now it's in a plain brown box. It's a warehouse type box, not a retail box, but I ordered it on Newegg, and it is a 27-inch curved VA monitor, 1440p by 144 hertz. And you're thinking, Paul, what does all that mean? Well, we're going to explain that in just a moment. So let's start with some basics. The old TVs that you might see in either old pictures or when you were growing up, in my case I was growing up and I got to see black and white TVs and color TVs. The console televisions or the great big cathode ray tubes, the great big ones that sat there that were really heavy, those all had basically 425 lines of resolution. They were drawn, the cathode ray tube, the magnet in the back of it actually drew all the odd numbered lines, then came back and drew all the even numbered lines. But it did it so quickly that your eye couldn't tell the difference. Well, with the advent of liquid crystal and being able to have an LED display, we've also been able to make things much larger. If you step up to just basic HD, which is 720p, that means there's 720 lines of resolution, 720 rows, and they're all done progressively. That means they're going 1 through 720, so fast that your eye can't tell the difference. The next step up is 1080p. Now things get a little bit trickier when you go up from there because the 4K TVs aren't measured the same way. They're measured across. So in actuality, what you're talking about is it would actually be 2K because it's like 2100 lines of resolution, but now we've started measuring side to side. There's three main types of LED panels. The first one is twisted pneumatic. That's your original, hey, this is what came along in the first place, your OG, if you will. This is the most inexpensive, it's typically the fastest, and it presents decent color, usually pretty good color, but if you look at your monitor from the side, say you're in a large room and you're trying to see something from the edges, if you're trying to watch a football game from the side of the room, you never can quite see it. It looks all washed out. That's a TN panel. That's because the best viewing angle is pretty much right in front. Nothing wrong with that. That's just the original. That's the way they've always been made. Then you have something called in-plane switching. In-plane switching means that the crystals are lined up in parallel. So you've got a little bit better color, but you also have the speed is going to be pretty much the same, but your viewing angles are much better. So they are still going to be a very quick, very fast response time on the monitor, but you will be able to see better color. You will be able to see it at different angles, and you might not necessarily have to be sitting right in front of it. Some of your more expensive TVs, and obviously your gaming monitors, the high quality gaming monitors, are going to be of this type. Their third type is called vertical alignment, or VA. If you see any of the curved monitors like this one is, those are VA. Those are the only ones that can be like that. And they usually come in a 15 and a 19, which just refers to the viewing angle or the angle of circumference. Basically, that would be the angle it would take to go ahead and complete a circle. So this has excellent color value, but it's not as fast. The response times are not as good. You still can get decent response times and you can still get a pretty good monitor, but if you are going to notice some differences and might see some blurring, artifacting, and things of that nature just by the virtue of that's the type of monitor it is. The 1440p is still basically that 1080p type format, but we haven't gotten up to the 4K, so that's a sweet spot. It's a sweet spot for gamers, it's a sweet spot for people like me that don't necessarily want to have a 4K monitor or can't afford a 4K monitor and video card and all that such, but it's still large enough where I can see what I want to see and everything works out really well. So this monitor is a 1440p. Now, what does the 144 hertz mean? That's the refresh rate. Your typical, basically, if you're going to go to one of your retailers, I don't want to mention any Walmart names, but if you go to Walmart and you buy a 50-inch television for $500 or $400, chances are very good that it's just going to be a 60 hertz panel. This one happens to be 144 hertz, so that means it refreshes a little bit over 2 times as fast. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that kind of keeps things basic. The 27 inches is measured corner to corner, and yes, they're measuring the screen size, not where it is after the curve. So there's your basics in that. Okay, so just a little bit of a refresher for those that don't know. For anybody that is technically gifted, I'm sorry, I've just bored the heck out of you. But it's important that we go back over that to let you know that the monitor that I got, I believe it was $269 or $279. I bought it on Newegg, got it on sale, and it's back up to the regular price and they're out of stock. So evidently I wasn't the only one that tried to purchase this monitor. Acer is a monitor brand that I have ordered before. I've used their computers, I've used other things, laptops and stuff like that. So I've been pretty happy with the brand. And the last monitor that I reviewed about a year ago was also an Acer. It was also 1440p and it was also 144 hertz. No, I did not go into detail about what it was. That was a TN panel. This is a VA panel, the vertical alignment, which means this one's a curved panel. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a curved panel, but if you're going to get a VA monitor that's not curved, why would you do it? Typically though, people that are buying curved monitors are usually buying them 32 inches and above. The only reason I got this as a 27 that's curved is because it was on sale cheaper than anything else that was 27 inches. And I figured, why not? I'll take a look at it and I'll tell you guys what I actually think. So we're gonna go ahead and take it out of the box. I'm gonna show you the parts. We're gonna put it together and see what it looks like on the desk. And I've got a TN monitor that I can compare color and contrast and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at that too. All right, so I've got it taken out of the box and pretty much laid everything out. It was probably the easiest way just to do that, to lay everything out and show you guys, than it was to try to take it out of the box, explain everything as it's coming out of the box. The one big thing you'll notice about this monitor, it has a power supply that is external, it's separate. So the cord is much smaller that has to be fished up through the stand or along with the stand, makes clutter and cable management a little bit easier. A couple other things, the stand itself, it's two pieces. It is metal, not like the one that was plastic. Very similar stand to what I reviewed last year, but that was a plastic stand. This one is a metal stand in two pieces, does come with a couple of screws for tightening. The monitor itself, of course, comes in the box. It's got a display port, it's got an HDMI 2.0, and it's got two HDMI 1.4s. Now the display port and the HDMI 2.0 are both going to allow you to reach that 144 hertz refresh rate. The HDMI 1.4 is only going to allow 60 hertz refresh rate. Okay, so part of what makes this difficult to judge is because this is a curved panel. Now I've got my display mirrored on both, so you can kind of see them side by side. It is a little bit more difficult to tell because the VA panel is curved and the TN panel on the right-hand side is flat. Probably a much better representation would have been if I had been able to look at both of them from the side and the VA panel had been flat as well. So you really can't tell much of a difference other than the fact that the side of the VA panel is curved, so you catch more of this portion if you're looking at it from the side or from the opposite way if I turn it the other way. You have to get a little bit of distance away or be almost parallel with it to be able to see the washed out appearance of the TN panel. Overall, like I reviewed last year, it's a pretty good panel for the price and everything. The one thing you will notice over on the left-hand side, the blacks are much deeper. You can see the colors themselves, there seems to be a little bit more saturation, a little bit more contrast in them. And in a case like this looks more orange. Depending on your monitor, you're gonna have to trust me that the right-hand side looks a little more orangish pink, and the left side looks more of a deeper red color. Now, this is after playing with both of these and trying to, I don't want to say calibrate them, but trying to get them aligned where my blacks were deep without getting the screens too dark, and the other colors look true. The greens were green, the yellows were yellow, and things like that. So, as you can see, right now this one on Newegg is sold out. It's back up to its regular price at $349 plus the $5 shipping. Unfortunately, I will leave a link to it just in case. But the biggest difference, or the biggest thing to notice here, is that they react very close to the same. And when I was setting these up, moving them around, they both react pretty close to the same. They're both set on 144 hertz right now. But like I said, I've got them both mirrored. And there's about the same amount of blur. I haven't tried too many video games or anything like that to see what the difference is, but I can use either screen interchangeably to try to look at and see, and they both, to my eye, look the same. So last year's TN panel to this year's VA panel, I'm gonna say color much better on the VA panel. The saturation and the way it looks and true to color is much better. I cannot tell the difference to my naked eye right now, the difference in the speed between both, but they're both rated at 144 Hertz. So ideally, I would not be able to tell the difference. I would hope not. I did pay about the same, interestingly enough, I did pay about the same for both of these panels. The one on the right was purchased at Micro Center a little over a year ago, and the one on the left was bought at Newegg, like I said. So the side-by-side, the best I can tell you, or the best examples I can give you, are that the color themselves look much, much better on the VA, curved VA panel. And it's not because it's curved, it's because it's the VA and that's the natural, that's the characteristic of it, than they are on the TA panel, TN panel, excuse me. And after that, I guess I got to kind of just follow up and close this video out for you. So there you have it. The object of this video was not to give you a lot of technical specs and try to give you a full thing of what the color saturation is and what the HDR quality is and all the technical specs. There's plenty of websites and plenty of things that can give you those specs and kind of show you and show you why a VA panel might be better than a TN panel, or a TN panel better than a VA panel, or an IPS better than both of them, or anything like that. My object of this is just to give you kind of an overview of, hey, look, I found a monitor that was under $300 at a time when monitors have kind of gone weird in price. Found a monitor that was under $300. I had a chance to go ahead and get one and take a look at it and see if it was worth the 300 bucks that I would or you would pay for it. And in my eyes, I think it is. I'm sure there are other similar panels. I went with Acer because it was a brand I was familiar with. It was something that I ordered a flat panel TN last year, so I can kind of look at them. And looking at them right now, as I'm looking at the camera, I can see that the one is washed out and the one I can see very clearly. So I should have probably set that camera angle up, but the TN panel is kind of washed out and I can see the VA panel very clearly. Anyway, that was my whole thing, was to be able to show you guys that and say, hey, look, this is the monitor I found. This is what's included in it. This is how it's constructed. This is what I bought last year for the same amount of money as I bought this year, and kind of give you a comparison that way. So as always, folks, you're welcome to share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me any kind of comment. Do you have a preference? Do you even care what kind of monitor it is? Are you looking at one technology over another one, TN, IPS, VA, or anything like that? Or you're just looking for something you can game on and you don't really care? Kind of leave me comments, let me know what you're thinking. Anyway, that's all I got for right now, folks. So until next time, I'll see you later.